Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. My husband's obsessive ex wife has made my entire marriage unnecessarily miserable. But now she has started being actually unhinged. She crossed all limits, and we were forced to take police action against her. Let me give you guys some background first, so you can really understand why I'm calling her crazy in the first place. So I met my husband 6 months after his divorce. We took things really slow because he was just out of a long-term marriage. After dating for 2 years, we got married in a small chapel ceremony because we didn't want anything elaborate. Sounds normal so far, right? Except that it's not. That's where my husband's ex-wife comes in. She made their divorce very difficult and expensive. She just didn't want to leave him, but he was desperate to escape. Even after their divorce, she wouldn't stop contacting him. Her delusional mind convinced her that the divorce meant nothing and that they're soulmates who will get back together. When my husband and I first started dating, he tried to keep it low key for the longest time so that she didn't find out about us. We stayed off social media for the longest time, which was hard because I actually have a decent following on Instagram and do quite a bit of vlogging. Anyway, we managed to hide our relationship. Even my engagement photos didn't show who the guy was, driving my followers crazy. But I just wanted to be left alone by my husband's ex. But we couldn't hide our wedding. More like neither of us wanted to hide the best thing that's ever happened to us because of some other woman. So we finally posted each other publicly. Boy, was that difficult. My husband's ex obviously saw the pictures, stalked me online, and started texting me nonstop. She said a lot, but the overall theme of it was that I stole her husband. I'm trashy, and he's only with me to make her jealous, and for absolutely no other reason. I mean, wow. I was warned by my husband that something of that sort will probably happen, but I thought he was just being paranoid. Most I expected was her, maybe, snooping on me online or a few texts. I did not expect the relentless flow of texts. I obviously blocked her main account, but she kept texting me from other accounts. It was absolutely crazy. After a few weeks, though, I got used to it and didn't really care. My husband was really apologetic about the whole thing, but I told him it's not his fault. After the initial shock, I decided not to get worked up over this and just started ignoring her. She became the butt of all jokes in my friend group and between my friends and I thought she'll eventually stop texting me if I don't respond. Simply put, I could not possibly be more wrong. I got a call yesterday morning. I don't usually pick up calls from unknown numbers. So I don't know what was going on in my mind when I picked it up. Guess who it was? Yup, my husband's ex. When I picked up, I heard a woman's voice saying my name and asking if she's speaking to her. When I said yes, she let out every ounce of anger she had. She said that I'm trashy for posting my pictures on Instagram and started slut shaming me. That kind of made me feel bad, but what she said next just made me laugh. She told me that I'm the devil who tempted her husband and stole him from her with my provocative pictures. First of all, my pictures are in no way provocative, and even if they were, I'm not out here tempting anyone. Secondly, we met months after their divorce and not even online. He found out about my social media after like 4 dates. But I know that woman doesn't care about all that. I told her she's crazy. Told her she's jealous that I'm more attractive than her and hung up in her face before she could say anything else. I then blocked the number, called my husband, and said that we should really do something about her now because it's getting out of hand. Guess what happened? Not even half an hour after I talked to my husband. I was working on something in our loft and heard a lot of screaming coming from the driveway. I ran outside to see what's up, and there she was. That was the first time I had actually seen my husband's ex, and she was in my lawn calling me all sorts of names for stealing her husband. I immediately called my husband to come home as soon as possible. When she saw me, she just went even crazier and ran towards me. Scared out of my mind, I ran back inside and locked the door. I then went to the living room because I can see the lawn from there, and I could have never imagined what she would start doing next. She went to her car, picked up a crowbar, and started smashing my car that was parked in the driveway. The whole time, she was calling me names. I knew then that things have gotten too far and called 911. Apparently, they had already gotten calls from neighbors as well. I called my husband to wait a few houses away until law enforcement gets here so that she can't hurt him. She was still screaming at me to come out and give her man back when the police showed up. They took her away and charged her with trespassing, destruction of property, and harassment. My husband drove in as soon as he saw the cop cars, and seeing him just made her crazy. She told him that she has learnt her lesson and that he can come back to her now. Poor guy just looked horrified, and after talking to the officers, rushed back into me, apologizing nonstop. We've decided to file a restraining order against her and stop this madness once and for all. A lot of people have been asking me to tell them about my husband's relationship with his ex and why she's so obsessed with me. I didn't get into it in my original post because I felt like it wasn't my place to tell, but I've asked my husband and he said he's fine with me posting about it. My husband and his ex went to high school together. He's a year younger than her, and she apparently had a crush on him in school, but didn't do anything about it. 2 years later, my husband went to college and she happened to transfer to his college. They met on campus and started dating. That's how the relationship started, apparently. She had always been a little jealous and possessive, but not to a concerning level until their marriage. After they had gotten married, though, she just became paranoid. She didn't like him talking to any other woman, made him unfriend and unfollow every woman in her social media, and hated it when he went anywhere without her. Things obviously got unbearable for my husband, and he filed for divorce not even 6 months after their wedding. I've already mentioned that she made the divorce really difficult as well. So that's their story. I've been getting a lot of texts about people saying my husband's ex might have been stalking him for years and only transferred to his college because she knew he was there. I told my husband about it, and he said he has no idea if that's true or not. By the time they met in college, my husband had practically forgotten all about his ex as just some senior he barely knew in high school. She's the one who asked him if he was from high school when they met, and that's how they started talking. It seems ridiculous that someone would go that far, but knowing what I know about that woman, and especially what she did with the car, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. We've got the restraining order. We still don't know if she has been stalking my husband all these years, but we've been told not to contact her in any way, and honestly, both of us just want to finally move on with our lives without her constant annoying presence. Now that I think of it, I should have done this ages ago without feeling bad for her and pretending everything's fine. Also, she did wreck my car and will be paying for all repairs, so there's nothing to worry about in that sense. This will probably be my last update. Thanks for hearing me out. Update 4. I can't believe what she did. It has been 2 weeks since we got the restraining order, and after this temporary peace, my husband's wife is back again creating trouble for me. I woke up late this morning and saw that my Instagram was going absolutely crazy with notifications. I thought maybe a post had gone viral for some reason and opened the app excitedly, but you won't believe what I saw. I was flooded by comments from random people saying that I'm a shameless temptress who ruined a happy marriage and that I'll pay for all the bad things that I've done. I wish I was exaggerating, but there are genuinely hundreds of comments which have caused absolute chaos within my followers as well. I was really confused about what was happening and almost had a panic attack. I showed my husband the comments, and we were equally confused and scared until my husband noticed something. One of the comments was made by a woman who apparently looked really familiar to my husband. We looked her name up on Facebook, and sure enough, it was his ex-wife's best friend. That's when things started to click in. My husband said he might still have her number somewhere on his phone, and luckily, we found it. My husband called her from my cell, and she picked up. My husband asked her what the hell is going on, and initially, she sounded really angry and said, I'm just paying for my actions and posting shameful pictures on social media and stealing people's husbands should be published. My husband got really angry at that point and threatened to sue her for cyberbullying and my husband's ex for violating the restraining order if she didn't tell us what's going on. That's how I found out that my husband's crazy wife is in a Facebook group of other crazies like her who have been left by their husbands, and she convinced them to attack me on social media. Yikes. What the hell have I gotten myself into, right? My poor husband is as sorry as ever and keeps apologizing and blaming himself for letting things escalate. But I'm not angry at home at all. We're obviously going to report this, but I've decided to take a break from social media for now. Talk about obsession. Wow. That woman needs therapy for sure. I feel so bad for you having to put up with this for so long. I definitely think that this is the result of a long-term fixation and that she has been stalking your husband for ages. I'm glad you got the restraining order, but be prepared to take a stronger measure because I don't think she'll stop anytime soon. This is just scary. Sending weird messages was one thing, but showing up at your house and sending a bunch of strangers to cyberbully you? That's next level. I think you should sue her for harassment. That might help you discover how long she has been stalking your husband as well. Good luck and take care. I'm 17, female, and I have a stepsister who's 17, female. We became stepsisters when we were 5 years old, and for almost 2 years we were just sisters. I loved her. I thought she loved me. We were super tight, etc. Then her dad and his wife told her they were having a baby, and she tossed me aside and told me she'd just use me until she got a real sibling. It drove her mom crazy and led to a lot of tension in our home because she was downright mean about rejecting me and us not being sisters. We have pretty much nothing to do with each other anymore. Even when we are in the same house, we do our own thing and don't interact. My dad and stepmom did try to make things work better. We were put in therapy individually and together, but she saw me as less than because we shared no blood and that never changed. My stepmom has apologized to me so many times on her daughter's behalf. I know she feels terrible because it was cruel the way she handled the whole thing. She'd even rub her love for her siblings in my face. A few days ago, one of her half-sisters passed away. It was unexpected and sudden, and she's broken. My stepmom and dad are going to the funeral, but I'm not. My stepmom's parents are super pissed I won't put the past behind us and support her. They say it's the act of a true good person and a true sister. That me being there for her through this could be the thing that brings us closer together again. My stepmom told them to leave me alone. They argued with her. Then they contacted me behind my stepmom's back and told me I am turning my back on the only sibling I will ever have and the chance for reconciliation. I told them I didn't care about reconciliation or being there for her, that she didn't deserve it. They responded that I was spiteful. Yes, I told my stepmom they contacted me again, but their words have stuck. AITA? I think you're NTA. She hurt you, and you shouldn't feel obligated to go to the funeral. Stepmom's parents shouldn't guilt trip you into going, but there's a point in what they say. Maybe you're acting out of spite, which I understand since she has hurt you so much. I can't imagine what it's been like for you. I only have young step siblings, and both of them cried their eyes out when someone told them I wasn't their sister. She decided your relationship was nothing, and maybe she was just young and didn't know better. But even if you go, there's no way of telling how she will take it. NTA, I'm glad your stepmom has your back. Believe her. Why do people always expect the jilted, hurt party to be the bigger person? Where is any form of apology or of simply acknowledging the hurt caused? Your stepmom's parents are acting just like your stepsister. Perhaps the apple fell an extra generation from this tree. At the beginning of this year, I bought a house. It's a quiet neighborhood with mostly families. I'm 30, female, no kids, running a small business from home full time. I was lucky enough to succeed and make it my full-time job for the past 4 years. I'll admit I am very privileged considering how much flexibility I have and that I am not responsible for children in the current crisis. I grew up very poor, and for the longest time, I hated spending money on anything but essentials, and I worked hard to get out of the mindset, so I don't budget my personal money religiously. I typically give myself a weekly wage that I can spend on bills and myself, and I typically still have some left over. I know how much I need on average and kind of just go with it without thinking of how much I'm spending on individual things. I hope that it makes sense. The house I bought came with electricity on a prepayment meter, the old one that you have to take the key to the shop and top it up there. I never bothered changing it to a newer model, nor changing to standard bills. It just works for me. Whenever I'm going to the post office, I'll see if it needs topping up, and if it's running low, I'll take it with me and I'll top it up for £98. I don't know how much it lasts me. I just top it up when I need to. It works for me. The other day, I met one of my neighbors. We started chatting. She was complaining about heating her house, and since our houses are of similar size, she asked how much I was paying. I answered that I honestly didn't know how much I was paying, but could check and get back to her. She got offended and asked why I didn't know, so I explained. For some reason, she got really annoyed with me and said that they all know I had money, but I didn't have to flaunt it in their faces all the time. She mentioned how much I order online, most of which are business related, how I have multiple monitors set up in my office, plus personal electronics. Apparently, a neighbor that's been to my house has been telling everyone how I don't have a telly. Apparently, a neighbor that's been to my house has been telling everyone how I don't have a TV. But I have all those laptops. I have two, work and private one, and iPads lying around. I was shocked at her accusations and tried to explain, but she told me I was insensitive to their struggles. The next day, I was working in my office and heard her talking to another neighbor. She was ostensibly loud, standing in front of my house, complaining what a mean bitch I was, and that I didn't know the struggle because I was single, probably because I was stone cold. And the neighbor agreed. And she did the same thing later with another neighbor. She's now ignoring me and won't even reply to my good morning. I do feel bad for offending her. I know how it is to struggle, but I don't think what I did was wrong. I thought I was in the clear until I heard other neighbors agree with her, and I'm confused. Was I really the a-hole here? NTA, you did nothing wrong. All you did was answer her question. It's merely that your answer to the question revealed the truth about your financial situation. You don't actually need to be aware of exactly how much you spend on electricity because you have enough that you don't have to budget everything carefully to get by. You were not rubbing this in your neighbor's face at all, and she's way off base for saying so. And the rest of your neighborhood is apparently full of irredeemable gossips. I just ignore her back, but maybe defend yourself to the neighbors that are worth actually knowing. And don't put too much stock in people's agreeing with your neighbor when she gossips about you. It's an awkward situation and people will do that just to not cause a scene. It doesn't mean they truly agree. Please get blackout curtains and install cameras outside your house. Your neighbor sounds like a creepy, jealous snoop who is envious that you don't have kids and a spouse to split limited finances with. NTA, you do you. NTA, definitely not. Live your life and let her live her angry, upset, and jealous life. 100% you will be happier. She asked a question you didn't know the answer to off the top of your head, but you responded completely appropriately. I don't know how much it costs to heat my place either. I don't crank it up super high, but I want to be comfortable, and the bill is what it is, and it won't prevent me from making rent. So, whatever.